Hello friends, warm welcome in this video, that is a photorespiration. Now we will see what is a photorespiration. Photosynthetic cells produce O2 by the splitting of H2 during the light driven reactions and use CO2 during the light independent processes. So the net gaseous change during the photosynthesis is the uptake of CO2 and release of O2. But in dark condition, plants also carry out mitochondrial respiration. The oxidation of a substrate to CO2 and the conversion of O2 to H2O. And there is another process in plants that, like mitochondrial respiration, consumes O2 and produces CO2. And like photosynthesis is driven by light. This process is actually known as photorespiration. It is a closely side reaction of a photosynthesis, a result of the lack of specificity of enzyme Rubisco. Rubisco is not absolutely specific for CO2 as a substrate. Molecular oxygen competes with the CO2 at the active site, and about once in every 3 or 4 turnovers, Rubisco catalyzes the condensation of O2 with a ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate or REBP to form 3-phosphoglycerate and 2-phosphoglycolate, a metabolically useless product. This is the oxygenase activity referred to in the full name of the enzyme ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate carboxylase oxygenase activity. The reaction with O2 results in no fixation of carbon and seems to be a net liability to the cell. Salvaging the carbons from 2-phosphoglycolate consumes significant amounts of cellular energy and releases some previously fixed CO2. So what is the evolutionary significance of this oxidase and carboxylase activity of Rubisco? Given that the reaction with oxygen is deleterious to the organism, why did the evolution of Rubisco produce an active site unable to discriminate well between CO2 and O2? Perhaps much of this evolution occurred before the time about 2.5 billion years ago, when production of O2 by photosynthetic organisms started to raise the oxygen content of the atmosphere. Before that time, there was no selective pressure for Rubisco to discriminate between CO2 and O2. The Km value for CO2 is about 9 micromolar and that for O2 is about 350 micromolar. The modern atmosphere contains about 20% O2 and only 0.04% CO2. So an aqueous solution in an equilibrium with air at a room temperature contains about 250 micromolar O2 and 11 micromolar CO2 concentrations that allow significant O2 fixation by Rubisco and thus a significant waste of energy. The temperature dependence of these solubilities of O2 and CO2 is such that at a higher temperature the ratio of O2 to CO2 in solution increases. In addition, the affinity of Rubisco for CO2 decreases with the increasing temperature, exacerbating its tendency to catalyze the wasteful oxygenase reaction. And as CO2 is consumed in the assimilation reaction, the ratio of O2 to CO2 in the air space of a lip increases, further favoring the oxygenase reaction. So what are the possible functions of this pathway? Although the C2 oxidative photosynthetic carbon cycle recovers 75% of the carbon originally lost from the Calvin cycle as a 2-phosphoglycolate, why does the 2-phosphoglycolate form at all? Possible explanation is that the formation of 2-phosphoglycolate is a consequence of the chemistry of the carboxylation reaction, which requires an intermediate that can react with the both CO2 and O2. Such reaction would have little consequence in early evolutionary times if the ratio of CO2 to O2 in air were higher than it is in today. However, these low CO2 to O2 ratios prevalent in modern times are conducive to photorespiration with no other functions than the recovery of some of the carbon present in the 2-phosphoglycolate. Another possible explanation is that photorespiration is important especially under conditions of a high light intensity and low intracellular CO2 concentration. For example, when stomata are closed because of water stress. To dissipate excess ATP and reducing power from the light reactions, thus preventing damage to the photosynthetic apparatus. There is evidence from work with transgenic plants that photorespiration protects C3 plants from photooxidation and photoinhibition. Further work is needed to improve the understanding of the functions of photorespiration. Now see, this is the oxygenase activity of Rubisco. The incorporation of one molecule of O2 into 2,3-indiol isomer of ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate generates an unstable intermediates that rapidly splits into 2-phosphoglycolate and 3-phosphoglycerate. The ability to catalyze the oxygenation of ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate is a property of Rubisco regardless of taxonomic origin. Even the Rubisco form anaerobic autotrophic bacteria catalyzes the oxygenase reaction when exposed to oxygen. As alternative substrate for Rubisco, CO2 and O2 competes for reaction with a ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate because carboxylation and oxygenation occurs within the same active site of the enzyme. The C2 oxidative photosynthetic carbon cycle acts as a scavenger operation to recover fixed carbon lost during photorespiration by the oxygenase reaction of Rubisco. The 2-phosphoglycolate formed in the chloroplast. The C2 oxidative photosynthetic carbon cycle acts as a scavenger operation to recover fixed carbon lost during photorespiration by the oxygenase reaction of Rubisco. The 2-phosphoglycolate formed by the oxygenation of ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate in a chloroplast is rapidly hydrolyzed to glycolate by a specific chloroplast phosphatase enzyme. Subsequent metabolism of the glycolate involves the cooperation of the two other organelles, peroxisomes and mitochondria. Glycolate now leaves the chloroplast via a specific transporter protein in the envelope membrane and diffuses to the peroxisome. Here it is oxidized to glyoxylate and hydrogen peroxide H2O2 by a flavin mononucleotide dependent oxidase, glycolate oxidase. The vast amount of hydrogen peroxide released in the peroxisomes are destroyed by the action of a catalase enzyme while the glyoxylate undergoes transamination. This is the transamination reaction. The amino donor for this transamination is probably glutamate and the product is the amino acid glycine. Now this glycine leaves peroxisome and enters into the mitochondria. Here the glycine decarboxylase multi-enzyme complex catalyzes the conversion of two molecules of glycine and one of NAD positive to one molecule of each serine, NADH, ammonia and CO2. This multi-enzyme complex present in a large concentration in the matrix of plant mitochondria comprises 4 proteins named as H protein, P protein, T protein and L protein. The ammonia formed in the oxidation of a glycine diffuses rapidly from the matrix of a mitochondria to chloroplast where glutamine synthase combines it with a carbon skeleton to form amino acids. The newly formed serine leaves the mitochondria and enters the peroxisome where it is converted first by transamination to hydroxypyruvate. The glycine decarboxylase complex is an enzyme similar to structure and mechanism to two mitochondrial complexes, pyruvate dehydrogenase complex and alpha keto dehydrogenase complex. The glycine decarboxylase complex oxidizes glycine to CO2 and NH3 with a concomitant reduction of NAD to NADH and transfer of the remaining carbon from glycine to cofactor tetrahydrofolate. The one carbon unit carried on tetrahydrofolate is then transferred to a second glycine by serine hydroxymethyl transferase producing serine. The net reaction catalyzed by the glycine decarboxylase complex and a serine hydroxymethyl transferase is 2-glycine plus NAD plus H2O converts it into serine plus CO2 plus NADH plus H positive ions. The serine is converted to, now the serine enters again into the peroxisome where it is converted first by transamination to hydroxypyruvate and then by an NADH dependent rubisco to glycerate. A malate oxaloacetate cetal transfers NADH from cytoplasm into the peroxisome, thus maintaining an adequate concentration of NADH for this reaction. Finally, this glycerate re-enters the chloroplast. Here it is phosphorylated to yield 3-phosphoglycerate. In photorespiration, various compounds are circulated in a concert through 2 cycles. In one of these cycles, carbon exits the chloroplast in 2 molecules of a glycolate and returns in 1 molecule of a glycerate. In other cycle, nitrogen exits the chloroplast in 1 molecule of a glutamate and returns in 1 molecule of ammonia together with 1 molecule of alpha ketoglutarate. Thus, the overall 2 molecules phosphoglycolate, that is 4 carbon atoms, lost from the Calvin cycle by oxygenation of REBP are converted into 1 molecule of 3-phosphoglycerate and 1 CO2. In other words, 75% of the carbon lost by the oxygenation of a ribulose 1,5-bis phosphate is recovered by the C2 oxidative photosynthetic carbon cycle and returned to the Calvin cycle. On the other hand, the total organic nitrogen remains unchanged because of the formation of inorganic nitrogen in the mitochondria is balanced by the synthesis of a glutamine in the chloroplast. Similarly, the use of NADH in the peroxisome is balanced by the reduction of NAD positive in the mitochondria by glycine decarboxylase. In bright sunlight, the flux through the glycolate salvage pathway can be very high, producing about 5 times more CO2 than is typically produced by all oxidations of the citric acid cycle. To generate this large flux, mitochondria contain 2 prodigious amounts of the glycine decarboxylase complex. The 4 proteins of the complex make up half of all the protein in the mitochondrial matrix in the leaves of pea and spinach plants. In non-photosynthetic parts of a plant, such as potato tubers, mitochondria have very low concentration of the glycine decarboxylase complex. Thus, the combined activity of a rubisco oxygenase and the glycolate salvage pathway consumes O2 and produces CO2, hence the name photorespiration given to this reaction pathway. This pathway is perhaps better called as oxidative photosynthetic carbon cycle or C2 cycle, names that do not invite comparison with respiration in a mitochondria. Unlike mitochondrial respiration, photorespiration does not conserve energy and may actually inhibit net biomass formation as much as 50%. This inefficiency has led to evolutionary adaptations in the carbon assimilation process, particularly in plants that have evolved in warm climates. Thank you.